Hi everyone, welcome back to the YFC Kitchen. I'm Emily, this is my friend Amy. Amy's going to be cooking with us today and hopefully in the future. Today we're going to be making chicken pot pie. This is for our Hub Harvest program where you get supply bags once a week that have ingredients for 2 recipes, sometimes 3, depending on what program you're in. If you're not part of Hub Harvest and you're interested in being part of it, please let us know. We would love to connect with you and find a way for you to get cooking too. So let's get started. Today we're making chicken pot pie. So we have all of our ingredients prepared so you don't have to watch us do everything from scratch. We have peeled and chopped our potatoes. We have thawed some frozen corn and some frozen peas and some chopped celery. We've chopped some carrots and some onions. We've also cooked and chopped up some chicken breast. If you had a leftover barbecue chicken from the grocery store, you could always peel off all the tidbits and use that instead. And then we have some cream, garlic that we've already chopped up nice and fine. We have some margarine, some broth, and we have some pie shells prepared for you. So the pie shells, you can see we've got the bottoms, and then we also have these little circles, and those are your tops, and we'll show you how to put those together. If you're part of Hub Harvest, you're gonna get these pie shells pre-made. If you're not, please let us know and we will let you know how you can access those pie shells. So let's get cooking. So the first thing that we're gonna do is measure half a tablespoon of butter into a big saucepan or pot, and we're going to turn our temperature to medium-high. Once the butter has melted, you're going to add a diced onion. You're going to add 4 stalks of celery, diced, and 1 carrot that you have peeled and diced. You're also going to add 1 clove of minced garlic. If you have pre-minced garlic, this is about 1 teaspoon. And you're just going to stir all of that around until the onions look soft and begin to look translucent. If you need to, you can always add some more margarine. You just need enough to keep your vegetables from sticking to the pan. Once you have softened your onions, celery, carrots, and garlic in your margarine, you're then going to add 2 cups of chicken broth and your prepared potatoes. Once you've mixed everything in, you're going to turn up your temperature, bring it to a boil, and let it simmer for about 10 minutes or until your potatoes are tender. Once your liquid comes to a boil, you're going to simmer for 10 minutes. Once your liquid has come to a boil, you can turn down your temperature and simmer for 10 minutes or until your potatoes are tender. The way you can check to see if your potatoes are cooked enough is if you poke them with a fork and it's easy to poke the fork all the way through, then the potatoes are cooked enough. If you can't do that yet, it feels really stiff, maybe let them simmer a bit longer. If it doesn't look very liquidy or you think it's a little too dry, feel free to add more chicken broth if you'd like. When your vegetables are tender, you're going to add your pre-cooked chicken and your corn and peas. We're adding about half a cup of corn and half a cup of peas. You could also use frozen green beans if you wanted. Next, you're going to measure 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch into half a cup of cream. And you're going to mix it together with a whisk or a fork. We always add our cornstarch to a cold liquid before we cook with it, because if you add cornstarch to a hot liquid or liquid with bits of like vegetables and meat and stuff in it, it'll become clumpy and then we'll have a lumpy stew, and that's not what we want. If you don't have cream on hand, milk would work just fine, but cream is definitely preferred. Once you've whisked your cornstarch and cream, you're going to add it to the mixture. And turn up your temperature back to medium-high and let cook for a few minutes, stirring as you go. Be careful with this part. Sometimes the vegetables can stick to the bottom, so just make sure you're stirring fairly often. You're going to do this for a couple minutes or until you see that the mixture has thickened. The cornstarch, when you cook it with things, it should thicken the product. Once you actually finish cooking, it will thicken a bit more, so don't worry if it's not exactly as thick as you're used to seeing pot pie filling, because this is just one step of the cooking. Once you have allowed your mixture to thicken, you can turn off the heat and move it over to a heat-safe counter. You're going to scoop about 1 cup into each pie shell. We're using individual pie shells, but if you were using just one big one, then you could just pour it all in. It doesn't have to be perfect, you just want them to be fairly evenly distributed because that'll help us cook everything more evenly later. Once you have filled all of your pies, you're going to start putting the tops on. So you're going to place a disc on top of your pie and then take a fork and use it to press the edges to make sure your top and your bottom stick together. This is the same technique you would use also when you're making peanut butter cookies or cookies that you need to flatten. Forks and spoons can be handy for lots of things in the kitchen. Once you have closed all of the edges, pressing your fork onto the tops, you're going to now poke some holes into the top of your pie. You can do this however you like, just make sure you do at least 3. This allows some steam to get out of the pie, which will allow your crust to get nice and crisp while still keeping your mixture cooking evenly. Once you have put on your tops and poked your holes, you're going to put your pies in the oven at 350 for 40 minutes. Now that we've had our chicken pies in the oven at 350 for 40 minutes, we have taken them out, and as you can see, the crust is nice and golden brown and it's evenly cooked. So you can eat your pies 2 ways. You can eat it straight out of the container, or if you want, you can take the pie out of the aluminum pan onto a plate or a bowl and just eat it that way. The nice thing about this meal is that it's all one dinner, all in one dish. You've got your vegetables, your meats, your everything all in one. I hope you enjoyed cooking with us today. I'm Emily, this is Amy, and if you ever have any questions or you're interested in getting more involved, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to connect with you. You can call us, you can email us at programs@yfclondon.com, or you can check out our Instagram and Facebook pages, find out all about what's going on at YFC. Enjoy your chicken pot pie, and we'll see you next week. Bye.